From the moment he entered the NBA in 1979, Magic Johnson made his Los Angeles Lakers a special team. They were graceful, they were stylish, and they always put on a great show.
Still going, still going. Oh! Highlight film! Showtime! Oh! Gotta love it! The ball rolls free. Magic wants it. Magic's got it. Bounce under! Rambus scores!
But they also played winning basketball. And their 8 finals appearances and 5 titles in the 80s were a testament to their greatness.
They were what everybody else wanted to be.
One time I asked Johnny Wooden, and I said, who is the best? And he said, I would select Magic. They're all great, but he said, I'd select Magic because he makes everybody around him so much better.
And he wasn't afraid to call his own number.
3 seconds, 2 seconds. Magic's 18-footer, wins it! Has he ever done it before? You bet he has. Will he ever do it again? Time and time again.
When Michael Jordan began his career with the Chicago Bulls in 1984, he brought an unmatched feeling of joy and wonder into the NBA.
No time for Mr. Jordan. All the way! Jordan to the hoop. Oh! Tipped it out to Jordan down the lane all the way. Basket! It's an effort by Jordan, who has it on the break. Driving all the way in. Basket! An unbelievable move! He put it in and it counts!
As popular as he was talented, Michael became an instant pop culture icon.
Michael was it. Michael Jordan was the kind of player who you could give the ball to and he could win the ball game. You put a Nike shoe in his hand and you could sell 8 million Nikes. He came along at a time when society wanted someone who they could really identify with in every single aspect.
There were some that said, hey, really what he is George Gervin with a nice smile. Because he scored a lot of points, but his teams never won the ultimate games. And he was furious about that.
It was such a frustrating thing for me, and I was very disturbed by it. And I think that was a part of the challenge. No one really felt that a scoring leader could lead their team to a championship.
Michael was unfavorably compared to the unselfish Magic, and his leadership skills were called into question. To Michael, the criticism seemed unjustified.
Well, Michael's joke was always, well, Magic made players better. He says, well, I'd like to take a shot at making Kareem and James Worthy better. I'm trying to make Brad Sellers and Dennis Hopson better.
In 1989, Phil Jackson became Michael's 4th head coach, and from the outset, his goal was to make Jordan's Bulls more cohesive.
I knew that I needed a system where he could play out of that would employ all the players, and if everybody participated in it, then that would empower them.
Despite their new look, the 1991 Los Angeles Lakers still had their championship pedigree. Magic was still running the point, and James Worthy was still filling the lane and leading the team in scoring on their way to a 58-win season. There were great moments along the way as Magic became the NBA's all-time assist leader.
Thank you, fans, for coming out every night and supporting me.
The Lakers cruised past their first 2 playoff opponents, but in the Western Conference Finals, they would run into Clyde Drexler's Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers had the league's best record and were the defending conference champions.
Nobody's going to beat the Blazers. They were really the invincible team coming out of the box, and it was like sort of a wire-to-wire kind of thing. Sort of like everybody was fighting for second.
Portland was so good, and they had so much talent that they thought this was it, that there was no way the Lakers could beat them.
But as veterans of many a playoff war, the Lakers didn't share that opinion.
Even though the Portland had a better team on paper and in the standings, I think whenever the Lakers got into the Western playoffs, they felt they had a psychological edge.
The series would pit the West's most confident team against its most talented.
3 on 2. Drexler to the basket. And that is Portland's biggest lead.
We always felt we were in the game. Even if they were up 20 in the first half, we always felt that we could come back and beat them.
Johnson, baseball pass. Devos with a jam.
Magic controlling the action, the Lakers frustrated Portland and took a 3-2 lead. And in the final moment of the 6th game, Magic would put his indelible stamp on the series.
The opponents never really knew what he had left in his tank because he had all these tricks, and he had a flair for doing things at the end of games.
Trailing by 1 with seconds remaining, the Blazers were 1 basket away from sending the series back to Portland for Game 7.
Drexler brings it to Porter. He shoots a one, and it's straight. It's no good. Magic's got it. Throws it down the floor. 1 second, and it goes out of bounds.
That's part of Magic. I mean, how many guys can you think of in a basketball game who know exactly how much time is left in the game and will throw the ball up and know that it's going to expire when it comes down? He was always in control of every aspect of the game.
Game's over. Listen to the Laker fans. The Lakers win it, ladies and gentlemen. And the Los Angeles Lakers are the Western Conference champions again.
Meanwhile, back east, the Bulls were finally playing like a team, as Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant were coming of age. Michael was sharing the ball the way Jackson had always envisioned, while still continuing to provide material for the nightly highlight show.
Oh, please, let's see that again. 100 times.
Now Michael had only one last hurdle to clear before he could take on Magic.
And the Bulls go back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd year in a row.
For 3 consecutive years, the Detroit Pistons had ended Chicago's season by humbling the Bulls and punishing Jordan in the playoffs. They even created a defense called the Jordan Rules, set up to frustrate Michael.
95% of the plays are from Michael Jordan, and the other 5% end up in his hand anyway.
The harder Jordan played, the more he played into the Pistons' wily trap.
This team that just roadblocked Michael, knocked the dog out of Pippen, humbled Horace Grant. Isaiah virtually owned our guards. He was in their face, outplaying them and out-talking them and out-shooting them.
1990 was the hardest of them all for Jordan to bear, as his Bulls fell apart in the 7th game.
It's over. The Pistons return to the NBA Finals for the 3rd straight time.
And in the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, Michael would finally get his chance to get even.
Switched off and was able to steal, leading to the...
Jordan and Chicago would show Detroit they were not the same old Bulls.
We've had success all season long. We seem to be, bonding together and getting stronger. This is the chance to make them back down or shake our hands or gain some revenge.
Showcasing their unity, Jordan and the Bulls relentlessly attacked the Pistons in waves, and as a team, they humbled Detroit in a resounding 4-game sweep.
The Detroit Pistons heading back to the locker room. Their season has concluded, while the Chicago Bulls advance to the NBA championship round.
At this point, and each year we've gotten closer and closer, and we just don't want to get complacent with getting past the Detroit Pistons. We're in the finals. We may not ever get to this point again. Let's lay everything on the court, and hopefully we can have a world championship by the time the season's over with.
The series opened on Sunday afternoon, June 2nd. And from the outset, it lived up to its billing. Michael came out firing, while Magic answered by relaxing his Lakers, and then giving them a little bit of everything.
2 seconds to go. Magic with a 3-point shot. Scores!
All right, Magic fires a three. Good! Magic Johnson has taken over.
Mirroring Magic, Michael brought the Bulls all the way back.
Jordan guarded by Scott. Jordan turns in the lane, gets the shot up. Good foul on Scott.
The stage was set for a classic finish. With his Lakers trailing by 2 with 23 seconds to play, Magic showed why he was still the NBA's preeminent floor general, especially with the game on the line.
And Perkins goes for three. He's got it. He went for the shot from downtown to take the lead.
All right, here we go. One in time. Michael, if they all run at you, remember Scotty's right here. Bill's right here. Catch back to him. 9 seconds. A lot of time.
Pass me the aspirin bottle. Get the oxygen tent ready. This is unbelievable.
To the surprise of no one, the Bulls put the ball in Michael's hands, and his team and 18,000 Chicago Stadium fans expected him to deliver them a Game-1 victory.
They lob it over the top to Jordan. Jordan gets it. Changes direction. Pull up jumper left side. Come on, baby. Ball, get it out. Get it out. Get it out. Ball knocked loose. Grabbed by the Lakers.
Michael Jordan had missed, and Magic had drawn first blood.
The Los Angeles Lakers steal Game 1 from the Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls knew they needed Game 2 badly, and they came out and played like it. With Jordan driving them, the Bulls took a first-half lead.
Steps out on a switch, and Grant able to take the pass from Jordan.
After shackling Magic, Pippen and Jordan would lead Chicago in an offensive onslaught.
Trolling, alley-oop pass underneath the...
Oh, it's good! Yes! 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 Jordan. Yes! The Bulls have exploded. Here's Pippen. The Bulls blowing the Lakers out.
And then late in the game, Michael would give the series its defining moment.
I thought he wanted to say something to the Lakers, that I'm going to do something that you've never seen before.
The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. That's 13 consecutive field goals.
I was like, my God, did you see that? And I'm like, oh, wake up, you playing against him.
The Forum had been a basketball graveyard for Laker opponents in the past, but these Bulls were now brimming with confidence. But it was LA who controlled Game 3 from the outset, giving the Bulls a taste of their own medicine.
Ball in low to Vlade. Vlade against Jordan again. Down the middle, he gives to Worthy. Worthy gives to Perkins. Slammed out!
Bulls substitute Cliff Livingston came to the rescue and inspired a fourth-quarter comeback.
Checked it emphatically by Livingston. Help, help! Beautiful look away. Jordan from Pippen and the game.
Trailing by 2 with 9 seconds left and his Bulls in possession of the ball, Jordan would get a chance to tie the game and get redemption.
Full court press. Jordan against Byron Scott.
Once again, the fate of the Bulls rested with Jordan, and this time he wasn't going to let them down.
Takes it right in the lane, comes up shooting, got it! Game tied with 3.4 left.
He's such a strong performer under those circumstances. He could take the pressure, relish in the pressure, and succeed with it.
Michael's clutch shot seemed to energize him, and Jordan charged into overtime, ready to seize the game.
Once it went to overtime, I remember thinking, the Lakers look tired. They look tired. You know, and the Bulls are young, and they got legs, and they're fresh, and Michael's hungry.
Michael spins out, baseline left to the hoop, reverse layup is in. A spectacular play by Jordan.
Chicago's 8-point overtime win gave them a 2-1 series lead and seemed to signify a permanent shift in the series.
Well, we're in a ditch. Not in a hole, we're in a ditch.
Throwing his whole game at the Lakers, MJ decimated them in the first half.
Here goes Jordan to Grant, back to Jordan. He takes the last shot of the half, and he hits
it. With the Lakers weakening, MJ went for the kill. And while Magic valiantly tried to rally the Lakers, he couldn't sustain an attack.
Right for the rebound, quick out of the pass down court. Michael to Pippen, who jams!
Game 4 belonged to Michael, and it was obvious. Magic couldn't stop it. Michael's 7-year odyssey from a brilliant individual performer to a champion was now just one game away, and he was determined not to wait any longer as he attacked the Lakers with a fury on every possession.
Devon's with a bounce pass, and Jordan the steal, tight ropes the sideline, all the way to the hoop for the dunk. Even the fans here wanted that one.
But like the true champion that he was, Magic rallied his Lakers for one final stand. But with the game hanging in the balance, Michael would face one final test that showed how far he had grown as a player. No one would ever question Michael Jordan's leadership abilities again.
I vow to show to everyone that a scoring leader can also be a successful team leader.
Paxson open again. John Paxson continues to provide the crushing shots.
He kept giving the ball up to Paxson, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
Michael, before that, wasn't the dominant Michael before. When he got to the finals, he became the dominant force and the world's best player. Because during that finals, he made everybody come up to the same level as him, and he made his teammates better.
You can start to say the words, folks. The world champion Chicago Bulls.
On June 12, 1991, Michael Jordan became a champion for the first time as Chicago defeated LA in 5 games.
And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
A series that started out as another Laker coronation had ended up as a coming out party for the Bulls and their star, Michael Jordan.